Lego games. Something that I have always been a huge fan of. One that for some odd reason really stuck out for me for years was Lego Indiana Jones. No, not this one. We don't talk about that one for now. This one. You see, I replayed this bad boy daily, like from start to finish. Why? Because I was weird. Nowadays, I can't spend more than a minute doing something because of how bad my attention span is. Yes, that includes making this video. Okay, maybe not a minute and a half. Anyway, this game has had to have something that was special about it, apart from, you know, it being Indiana Jones. So that is why I want to go back and see what was up with me, and if the game really does hold up. Also, fun fact, did you know that Indiana Jones was one of the 3 different IPs that were being considered to be made into a Lego game all those years ago? You see, there were an option of 3. Obviously, Indiana Jones, the one that we got, but also Tomb Raider and James Bond. From what I know, the reason they didn't get made is because 1, James Bond was and still is aimed for mature audiences, and you know, Lego games are more aimed for younger ones. And as for Tomb Raider, TT Games considered the IP to not be as big as they wanted it, so they decided to combine Indy and Tomb Raider. And you know how that went with Lucasfilm, of course. Not good. Since according to them, Tomb Raider is basically copy and paste of Indy in a way. Anyway, we ended up just getting Lego Indiana Jones after all. Still interesting to think about that we could have gotten 3 completely different games instead of just 1. We start in South America in the year 1936, where we see Indy with other people making their way through a beautiful jungle. Look at that grass and that sky. Satipo panics around as he finds what seems to be darts in a tree. They actually do turn out to be darts, as one of them nearly gets Indiana Jones, but he's too busy looking at his map. Slowly, one by one, the other helpers that were there with Indiana Jones ended up either obviously getting shot with an arrow, falling off a ledge, or running away because of bats. And then we get the reveal of the boy himself. And now we finally get to play as him. And as for the way the game works and the attacks, Indiana Jones has punching and a whip, okay? As for our second character, Satipo, he just has a shovel that he does utilize not only for digging, but also to punch people around the place. As I made my way through the level, I made a funny discovery. Indiana Jones moans, yeah, that sounds weird, and Satipo moans are done by the same voice actor. How was I able to tell? Well, because the voice was done by none other than Tom Kane. Oh, how much I miss him in the world of voice acting. Well, back to the level. It's kind of funny to make our way through this jungle style level with occasional Lego bushes here and there. It kind of stands out. Funny to see how much games have really changed throughout the years. The whole place is full of booby traps. Boobies. Spike traps, ponds full of crocodiles or lakes, whatever you want to call that, spiders, and just a whole bunch of things. That's one of the cool aspects about this game specifically. There's a lot of interesting and smart mini puzzles that you need to get through all of these traps and obstacles. Then after a long and tedious part, we reached our main goal, the golden idol, that he swipes fast and replaces with studs, so no secret booby trap gets activated. That doesn't go very well, let's just say that. So now we gotta run away from the whole place falling apart, and oh damn, true adventurer. Actually, getting those in this game is ridiculously easy, and I essentially managed to get one in almost every single level. I think I only missed like 2 or 3, but now as we reached one point, it was time to do the classic Indiana Jones scene of running away from the rolling boulder. I'm gonna make a bold claim. I do believe this is the first time we had the good old Crash Bandicoot inspired running away part to a level in Lego. Now, don't quote me on that though, but I am pretty sure this was the first time. As they both got away in time, Satipo actually betrayed Indy, and now he was forced to give the golden idol away, which he obviously didn't do very easily, and somehow pulled out C-3PO's head out of his bag to fool the bad guy. Right as he actually caved and gave the treasure away, Jock came into the rescue, and I quickly rebuilt a plane and fixed it up, which is one of the other unique features in this game, that being able to use a wrench to repair stuff. It kind of comes back a lot of times during this game, and with that, we got away just in time. Somehow, there was also a snake on the plane with us. How? No idea. As per usual, the end screens. Don't mind the achievement at the bottom. We got character collection and oh my god, my years. Now we're back in Barnett College, where Indy is teaching a class until he's interrupted. He learns that he is wanted to go look for the Ark of Covenant. Fun fact, this is indeed a real thing. kinda. You see, this arc dates back many years, where it was a wooden chest covered in gold, and inside were some kind of okay-ish things. The thing with it is that nobody knows where it is. So this having all of this build-up is accurate to some extent. But considering how it all ended inside of the movie, it probably wasn't the most accurate thing to what it was in real life and was very over-exaggerated. Well, from here, Indy was off to Nepal, where he met Marion in a bar, who had a necklace that was actually needed to find the Ark itself. Why does it look like one of those biscuits? Like the one with the jam in the middle? I don't know why, but it really just reminds me of that. Kind of makes me want to get one now. Of course, Marion didn't make things easy, like to get the actual necklace, and I guess now it's a level. Here, I discovered that you can pick things up and throw them. From there, I found out that everything in this game, and I mean everything, explodes when you destroy it. I don't know why, but it's just explosive sound effects. It was kind of funny each time I did anything. This really does make me love this game even more. Also, female characters in this LEGO game can jump ridiculously high, like all the time. It threw me off for a lot, but it did kind of make it the better character to play as. Oh, why is she looking at me like that? It's like the 1,000-yard stare. Anyway, after messing around and trying to open a door, a bad guy enters. Arnold Tocht. I don't know if I said that correctly, but I liked exaggerating that. We just gotta throw some stuff at him until he skedaddles to another area of the room. Again, throw like a chair at him. After we defeated him, we have another boss fight. Now it's a dude with a gun. And you guessed it, throw stuff at him until Tocht is back. Also, with a gun. What is happening? After more stuff being thrown around, we defeated him, and he ended up not only burning down the whole bar, but himself also. From here, they had to escape. And now Indy has a gun. Yeah. So guns are a pretty big part in this game, sometimes being the most fun thing about the game, and other times being the thing that is the worst part about it. As we progressed through, I found Luke Skywalker dangling inside of an ice cave. I love these Star Wars references. Like what? Honestly, this level is pretty long. At one point we ended up inside of like a tomb area where it was just more puzzle stuff to get through, but it was pretty neat. And then at the end we used an alpaca to get to a rocket launcher. I am not making this up. There was a lot happening right now, and it's amazing for a LEGO game. Thankfully, they just managed to get away in time, and that LEGO character had blue eyes. I haven't seen many LEGO characters with different colored eyes, you know? This kind of does add up with the time that this game is set in though. You know. Now we're in Cairo looking for Salah, and oh damn, that's a monkey. Look at him, he gave him a banana to give us a photo back. Silly little guy. It appears that someone wants to kill Indy. What a surprise. Now we're back to looking for Salah. We ended up utilizing the banana and monkey thing quite a lot throughout this level, but also overall inside the game later on. Along this level, there was a lot of beating up bad guys, trading with monkeys, then beating up some more bad guys that were on camels, and we ended up exploring the roofs. And this specific area is oddly very nostalgic to me. I actually had that happen to me a lot throughout this playthrough. A lot of moments where I just got these kind of like random memories activated inside of my head, specifically with this game. Also, in this level, we get a feature that isn't very new to LEGO games, but does get reused a lot in older ones, and that is put on a hat. Now wait, do bear with me. This ability lets you enter an area by talking to someone, or let's say activating a door. The way I was able to do it inside of this game is by defeating a special guy who dropped it. It then allowed me to talk to some random dude in a hole in a wall, and then he led us into another area, which allowed us to essentially get to another cutscene, and we got the iconic scene recreated where Indy shoots a guy instead of having a knife fight with him. Fun fact with this scene, the reason in the movie this happens is because Indy, or at least Harrison Ford, had food poisoning, so they couldn't do the fight scene. Hence him literally just shooting the guy instead of doing anything else, but it did create such an iconic scene. Gotta love it. But we finally found Salah, and then Marion got robbed. She also dropped the medallion, which was very convenient. And Indy went after her to save her and shot the car, which crashed, and he presumed she's dead. But thankfully, she's not. She's just kind of skedaddled away while he was crying. Salah and Indy from here went on a journey to figure out where the medallion will point when the sun shines at it at a right angle. From there, they were able to go to a tomb. I assume there's a lot of tombs, of course, which was full of snakes. And if you don't know, Indiana Jones' #1 fear is snakes. Why? It dates back to when he was younger and fell into an infested snake train, well, circus train, but it had snakes, and he's very scared of them now. In this new tomb, we get to play as Salah as well, who is definitely the better character to play as in this level because he's not afraid of snakes and doesn't scour every single time you walk up by them. Thankfully, they are scared of fire, and that does allow Indy to become a more playable character. Overall, it was another trap-filled place to get through until we got to this puzzle thing. Basically, there's a blue book that either you can find or a character has on them, and then using it, you can basically do this memorization of symbols and like press them in what order they were pressed by the game. It's kind of self-explanatory, but it does reoccur a lot of times inside of the game. We ended up actually getting to an open room where we had to put balls into holes. Yeah, anyway, when we did put all of those balls into holes, the Ark of Covenant, dun dun dun. As they were trying to get it out, Salah got abducted this time from what it seems, and this meant that Marion was essentially traded out. Damn you, Tocht! Oh, and also the other bad guy, Rene Belloc. I hope I'm pronouncing that correctly. I know I'm probably pronouncing Tocht incorrectly as well. But now Marion and Indy have to figure their way out of here before they die, obviously, because they're stuck somewhere. Overall, the level is the same as it was before, but there was this one part that I swear I was so confident I had to go through. It was this part where there's like turning stuff and you're supposed to jump on them and then progress through, but I couldn't do it and kept on dying. Turns out I wasn't supposed to go this way. Yeah, I know. Also, huge snake boss fight. Perfect thing for Indy to go up against, but after we did kill it, we were able to construct our way out, and Indy and Marion pushed out through a brick to get out of the tomb, and then they saw that they still had time to go and get the Ark of Covenant, but before that happened, they got interrupted by one of those blonde blue-eyed dudes. You look too perfect for this time. But they thankfully did manage to knock them out and fell into an excavation site, or well, like an area where it looked like an excavation site, and the next level has begun. This level, nothing too complicated, but once we got up, this is where the nostalgia kicked in once again. Here, you have to find a way to open up gates. And the way you're supposed to do that is by like pushing stuff, turning keys, but there was one really annoying thing about this level that stuck with me to this day, and it's these explosive dudes. They're the guys with the hats. Might have to kill one to use his hat, but the amount of times they blew me up, oh my gosh, still annoying me to this point. But once we open up the first gate and the second gate, we got to a boss fight with a dude who's bald and big, and I did not know what I was supposed to do in this level because it's actually not very self-explanatory, because it's not very accurate to the movie. So I spent a solid amount just running around trying to figure out what to do until I figured out I was supposed to pick up an anvil, so the dude punched it and hurt his hand, which got his health down. And then once again, I got stuck, not realizing you can get into the actual plane that's here to blow up a truck to make another anvil. Wow, he punched it again. And then after that, another truck showed up, beat up some dudes, got in the plane, blew it up, got an anvil, and he punched it again. Now this next part, I completely forgot about being in a movie, but his head got chopped off by the plane. Yeah, I'm not making that up. It was, yeah, rip dude. Anyway, Salah did arrive in time to rescue us, and there's actually more to the level? Oh, well, now we're on vehicles, beating up some dudes and trying to make our way to a different truck that had the Ark of Covenant so that we could escape with it. And that's exactly what we did, because of course I did. From here, Indy and Marion were off on a boat with the Ark of Covenant, where they unsurprisingly got caught by the bad guys. Oddly enough, it was a very similar situation of Marion getting captured, but this time around, Indy was there just in time to help her. So the next level starts at a dock and my game froze. Yep. Actually, no. My entire 360 froze. What is happening? Well, after restarting, we had to make our way out of this dock area, which wasn't anything crazy. Of course, it's the usual with these games. This part of the game honestly just took everything from previous levels and just had you make your way to get to the Ark of Covenant as fast as possible, where Indy almost got the chance to blow them up and then they got caught, which had a very abrupt cut. Like they just got caught, headbutted those dudes, and now it's boss fight time, which I assume is Belloc, right? Like they're fighting the bad guy, like not Tocht, the other guy. This boss fight was very short. Just climb your way up to get to him, slap him around, which again, this ended very abruptly. They defeated him, but got caught again. Then they all opened up the Ark, and if you don't know, it doesn't go very well. Essentially, in Lego form, a bunch of spooky ghosts pop out and make all of them die/melt. And it all ends in a happy ending. Well, not for Tocht and Belloc, unfortunately, and all of the other dudes. They're blonde-haired and blue-eyed. The most important part was that the Ark of Covenant was locked away once again, or at least for now, in a storage area. Yeah, and that was Indiana Jones and the Raiders of the Lost Ark. But in Lego. Oh, now we're in Barnett College, the old free roam style of area. I also spent a bunch of time in here exploring this place back in the day. It has all the basics: character purchase area, a mini kit room, which, fun fact, if you collect every single mini kit, you unlock 3 extra levels, with 2 of them being get 1 million studs within a time limit, and then the third is actually an extra level of young Indy, and we get to see what happened in the 3rd movie at the beginning. Got cut off in the actual main 3rd movie, and it's just a side level now. Oh, also in here, characters that attend the college are Indiana Jones and every other playable character. You just see a bunch of different Indiana Jones outfits, people, and Marion here and there, and a monkey. Look at him walking around. From here, we are off to movie numero dos, Indiana Jones and the Temple of Doom. My favorite Indiana Jones movie. Let's see how it is adapted in Lego form. We start off in Shanghai in 1935, with Willie dancing in a way I never expected to see a Lego character dance. Here we have Indy in a white tux, surrounded by a bunch of dudes that look like bad guys because they're wearing black tux. It appears that they are trading for a diamond. Then Indy ends up getting poisoned, and the bad guys, I guess, have the antidote. Yeah, I'm just going along with what the game is showing me. Well, from here, we get to play as drug-induced Indy, who stumbles around, and Willie. We have to find 4 diamonds to essentially throw them at each of the Matrix-looking dudes so that they can, throw the antidote to a different dude until they run out of dudes to throw it to, so they throw it at you. It's basically Piggy in the middle, but times 4. Also, Willie does have a very interesting ability in this game. She screams so loud that she can break glass. Yeah, they had to include breaking glass in these old Lego games. Once Indy was cured, we used this interesting looking vehicle to break out of a window and meet one of, if not the best character in Indiana Jones, Short Round. He's one of the first characters in Lego games, prior to that I do believe it was Ewoks, that are short, characters that can fit through these little doors. And by doing that, we were able to build a vehicle that allowed us to get out and go to an airport hangar thing where we built a plane, and then it turns out the plane that we built was actually one of the bad dudes that we traded the diamonds with, and because of that, the dudes that were on the plane abandoned us, and then Indy and Short Round and Willie were the only ones on the plane, and they had to jump off an inflatable boat thing, raft. Yeah, somehow they survived that. Well, they actually did wake up somewhere in the Himalayas in a river, just cruising around until some creepy looking villager shows up and kind of rescues them. He brings them back to his village to show them that a lingam stone was stolen by thuggy cultists, as well as the village's children. He asked Indy to help him, and our best boy of course accepted. Another fun fact: this stone is also based on a real life thing. As you can see, they based a lot of things on real life stuff, but obviously exaggerated a lot of the things just because it's a movie. From here, they were all off to the nearby Panka Palace, which is our 2nd level in the game. The coolest thing about it is that you were able to ride elephants. They came in handy if it was to either cross some muddy parts or just carry stuff around to build stuff. Very cool indeed. As a whole, not much really happened apart from get from point A to point B. So when we arrived to point B, which is the Panka Palace, they were greeted with open arms, and inside they were offered a feast by Maharaj, the prince. And this is another iconic scene, the monkey brains. A lot of monkeys in this. Indy did start asking questions about the rocks, which they denied of having or knowing. You know, Lego games and not being able to talk. It's kind of guessing what they're trying to tell you in this specific scene. Anyway, this caused them to get kind of pissed off, so they got attacked by some dudes. We essentially made our way through the palace, beating them up here and there, until we found a secret path that led us into some sketchy tunnels that, after some puzzles as per usual, and nearly being crushed by spikes that were coming out of the ceiling, they found a sacrifice being done by the cultists and the main villain of this movie, Mola Ram. But since it's a Lego game, nobody got hurt and there was no actual sacrifice. The dude just got his clothes burnt off. It also appeared that they had the rocks, and I'll be honest, this is another thing in this Lego game that kind of resembles food. Look at it. Why does that look like a loaf of bread? Or maybe an egg? God, I'm fat. Also, it appears that once again, the female protagonist with Indy is kidnapped. There goes Willie. So now it's up to Indy and Short Round to go rescue her. We have to gather parts to be able to progress out of this area. All of the normal stuff found in this game, get boxes to the parts, then build things, yada yada. And then here, I had to make my way through 2 turning parts. I guess you could call them like things that you have to hold on. And let me tell you, This was incredibly annoying. Like, it was not easy. But I finally made it through, and then I ran into a problem. Short Round refused to make his way through, so I had to switch to him to get over, while Indy was already on the other side, and when I got there with Short Round, Indy ceased to exist. Like, I couldn't switch to him at all. I tried my best for like a solid nearly 5 to 10 minutes until I gave up and just redid the whole level. Thankfully, this time around, it did work out. No idea what happened. Once all of those shenanigans were over, we had to free Willy, who was now the sacrifice. Okay, in the context of this Lego game, if her clothes get burnt, let's not go down that route right now. We had to battle some dudes who were trying to stop us. There were also these 2 statues that we had to activate by putting on a turban that dropped off of those bad guys cultists that we killed. This then had them shoot out fire and burn him. Doing it enough times let us defeat him and free Willy. Thank God your clothes are still there. From here, Indy saw one of the village children who are now being used to work for the cultists. Let's just say Indy didn't take that very lightly, and now we were on a journey through the tunnels to set them all free. Progressing through, we got help from the children along the way, which was actually really nice, until we got to some dude who wanted to fight us. And oh damn, that's the prince, who seems to have some hypnotized smoke thing around him. I'm assuming he's hypnotized because I don't think he would be a bad guy. Oh, also he threw something at the dude, which turned out he was actually healing him. So, Short Round had to go upstairs and beat him up, which he did. Like, he straight up punched the prince. Oh my god, relax, Short Round. So now the prince was back and we could actually defeat the dude, which turned out the way you defeat him is by constantly throwing dynamite at him, which we did slowly because we had to wait for the dynamite to constantly respawn. And just like that, we set the kids free. Yippee! Now they were really off to escape, and Indy thought of using the carts and the cart system that are in these tunnels, which was pretty cool and smart. So, by building them together, we were able to get on them, and this is a very, very unique part of the game. You essentially ride the cart and have to hit different things to activate a different part. I don't know what you would call them. I really did enjoy this level, and I know it's something that we kind of do get in different games, and it's nothing super refreshing, but honestly, for a Lego game, and especially an older Lego game, I think this is pretty cool, and I did really enjoy it. Also, collected a lot of studs, but not enough. And I did not get that true adventure. I can't believe it. I've done it every single level before this. Anyway, once we did that, Mullah Ram was not very happy, and he decided to destroy a water thing that had a lot of water, which meant that the whole place was going to start flooding. So, once they got off the cars, they had to run away from a whole ocean thing, water coming at them, which actually was a very short running away scene. I don't know if I messed up and got hit by the water, or if you're supposed to get hit by it. But yeah, that was like running away from something part 2, Crash Bandicoot 2. Yeah. Thankfully, they all of course got away and now are on a cliff and had to figure their way out by climbing up. Once they did get to the top, we got to go through some more puzzles. Haha, what? Like, get these colorful gems to open up an area. Oh, and I also made a smiley face by running over these flowers to get a mini kit. That was nice. Oh yeah, and also we caught up to Mullah Ram on a bridge and we had to fight him. The boss fight was beat him up enough until he pussies out, then throw stuff at the things that hold the bridge up to destroy it. Over time, you do it more and more until he's like fully defeated and the bridge splits up into 2 and Mullah falls to his death. Just before we left, they went back to the village to get the stone back and also to get the children back to their families. Once again, a happy ending. Now it was time for the final movie in the game, Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade. With this one, we start off in Venice in 1938 with Indy's dad. Yes, his dad. I know, cool. Putting away some kind of drawing into a box and sending it off just as he got knocked out. What? Now we see Indy opening it up and learning of the Holy Grail. He is then basically tasked by Walter Donovan, our new character, to go not only get the Grail himself, but also his dad. That part was his decision. Donovan was just like, go find the Grail. And him and Brady were off to Venice, where they met Elsa. Damn, Indy, you need to seriously relax. This is the 3rd woman now in the goddamn movie. You better not fall in love with her. Where is Marion? I know she doesn't show up for the next 2 movies, but relax. Anyway, now we gotta look for clues about his papa. In a library, after doing some more puzzles, what a surprise, we find a catacomb, which after exploring inside, they find a shield that tells them stuff and where to go next. But of course, it isn't that easy, and Brady is attacked by some Brotherhood dudes who are essentially here to prevent absolutely anyone from getting to that grail. After a chase around Venice that ends up in a boat chase and a near-death experience, Kazim, the dude who's the leader, gives in and tells Indy where his dad is. He was in a castle in Austria called Brunwald, which of course Indy went instantly to. At the castle, Indy decides to put on Elsa's hair to be as a disguise. I don't really understand it, but this allows them to get in. Making our way through the castle, we end up in the roofs until they crash through a window and Henry, Indy's dad, knocks him out because he thought he was an intruder. This part doesn't really make sense because like, why would he knock him out? Unless he thought he was like another German person? I don't know. They both got caught by Nazis. I think YouTube allows me to say that word, especially since it's like what, like half an hour, 20 minutes in. Hope it's okay. Essentially, they're here to make Indy give up his dad's diary, which he did get with that letter / postage he got earlier. And this all includes information about the Holy Grail. Oh, and also Elsa reveals that she is a bad guy, or well, Nazi. I don't have to say bad guy anymore. Well, also that means that she won't be sticking around for long, which is good. He can go back to Marion. I shipped them. From here, Indy and his dad were tied up, and their solution to get out was burn their rope, which caused a huge fire. Now we get to play as Henry, Indy's dad, and one really cool detail that I do really appreciate with this Lego game is every single time he walks around or I guess runs around, he holds on to his hat. I don't know why, but I just really appreciate that one. He also has the book thing where he can like do the puzzle, which kind of adds up with his character. From here, we made our way outside, which wasn't really difficult. Obviously, it's a Lego game, so these games aren't difficult and aren't very creative most of the time. The set pieces are pretty unique and cool. The only annoying thing here was there was like a dude who kept on running away with keys and you had to like catch him, and when you did catch him, he was like in a spot that I'm guessing was like pre-made for him to stop there. But once I defeated him, he didn't really drop the key and I was panicking. I was like, no way, do I have to restart this level again like the other levels? But it turns out no, the key just kind of spawned back where he originally spawned in. And then from here we were able to blow up some stuff with explosives and make our way out. Once they were officially out of the castle, they had to make motorbikes that I was able to use to progress through to this next level. I kind of really like how this part utilizes an idea of being a vehicle mission, but also not really. Something that I wish Lego Batman vehicle missions would have been more like. You basically get to drive around, but also get off at any point that you want. And another thing that I really like is how well they were able to adapt Austria and Europe overall in this level. I don't know why, it just kind of screams to me like, oh yeah, this does feel very World War II-esque, and it's a Lego game. But all of this came crumbling down. All those, oh, that's cool kind of feelings. Yeah, this next part in the level, oh no, I don't think a Lego game has ever pissed me off as much as this one. You see, the game all of a sudden decides to overload you with explosive enemies. You have 3 turrets that constantly shoot explosives at you. You have dudes with rocket launchers that constantly shoot explosives at you. And the geniuses at TT Games were like, yes, let's give them a rocket launcher as well. So you can see how that went because I kept on blowing myself up and I don't think I've ever died so many times. Like literally, this doesn't like, I nearly rage quit. That's how close it got. I was willing to restart the entire level on a different day because I was so annoyed. But thankfully, after doing all of that, the level ended and I did take that break because oh my god. From here, Indy and Henry made their way onto a hot air balloon where they had to fight off more Nazis. There was like this small boss fight and then we knocked the dude off of their hot air balloon, and from there they actually got caught and they had to escape on a plane. It was all very fast, and then their plane crashed. Yeah, anyway, we were off on foot here, which we just essentially had to escape again or find a way to escape. But the very cool thing about this level was that there was these dudes constantly flying out of the sky, and prior to that there was like bombs dropping. It was really cool. They came in parachuting. And then at the very end, there were like these planes that were attacking us, and to, I guess, defeat the planes, we had to activate birds to crash into them, which was pretty cool. And at the very end, Salah, our boy, came to rescue. He's back. From here, Indy, Salah, and Henry were on top of a cliff where they spotted those damn Nazis. They had a tank with them that ended up spotting them. So now Indy and Salah were once again teaming up. This time to make a vehicle of some kind, I don't really know what you'd call that, to break through this metal wall, and then they ran into the tank. To defeat this tank, or at least damage it enough, we had to make mines and also utilize the tank's explosives, which wasn't anything too difficult. After it got pissed off in a way, like you don't destroy it, you move on to the next part of the level, which is on top of the tank, where you constantly have to fight off, guess what, blue-eyed, blonde-haired dudes. What? And also the main guy inside the tank that once you do it enough times, you defeat him. And as Indy celebrates his victory, he sees that it's off on a cliff, so he falls to his death. And that's the end, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you guys in the next one. Okay, no, it isn't the end. He, of course, survived because this is Indiana Jones' story. And he did spook the absolute crap out of his father. Now that they were all regrouped, they went to the temple that had the Grail. But first, I had to fight off some more dudes, you know, like blonde-haired, blue-eyed dudes. What? And also do some more puzzles. Gotta love this gameplay style. Like, I'm not even being sarcastic. Like, I genuinely do love it. I know it might have sounded sarcastic, but like, I'm serious. If you don't believe me, you don't believe me. But I do really love it. I love Lego games. Am I trying to prove a point you're not arguing against? Maybe, but I do love it. Inside the temple, there were, guess what? More puzzles. Until they opened up an area and a dude's head came tumbling down. What? That's Walter Donovan. That's him, right? Like, I can't tell inside these games. These Lego characters are very difficult to tell apart because they were so limited with like the character models that Lego had at the time. He was now really forcing Indy to get that Grail. Well, I mean, he really better do it because he refused and Donovan shot Henry and he literally fell apart. Why did your legs fall off? But since that happened, he did agree and went to find the Grail. You see, also, I should have probably explained to you the Holy Grail. It is also based on a real thing. Kinda. From what I learned, the Holy Grail, in a way, is just a thing that was made up to an extent in the 12th century and is adapted in a movie. In some way, it was associated with being the Grail that Jesus Christ drank out of at his Last Supper, and then blood from him got poured into it, hence it being called the Holy Grail. And in Indiana Jones, it is described as having supernatural powers that can grant the person who drinks out of it immortality. You know, the typical wild stuff for Indiana Jones. So now Salah and Indy were off from room to room to find it. More obstacles and puzzles were obviously in our way until we got to invisible bridges. They're pretty cool. Ooh, spooky. Look, I'm walking on nothing. Whoa. Whoa, 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 whoa. Was that Vader? Whoa. No. Oh yeah. It's the Grail Guard, dude. Of course they had to fit another Star Wars reference in here because Lucasfilm. Get it? Get it? Also, it appears that they all kind of arrived here, even though we just played as Salah and Indy. I'm not gonna question it. And Donovan rushed off to get a Grail. Here's more lore about the Holy Grail. This room is full of them, but also not really. It's full of grails that you have to choose correctly by grabbing one randomly and drinking out of it, and this as a result will either do nothing to you since you chose correctly and you chose the actual Holy Grail, or rapidly age you when you die. So of course Donovan chose incorrectly and died. Another thing he missed was the fact that you not only had to choose correctly, but you had to defeat the guard successfully. Like you had to like in some way defeat him. So inside the level, I had to avoid him without like defeating him because for some other reason he couldn't, and I had to choose correctly. You see, there's a lot of grails here, so I was panicking. I chose one and I chose incorrectly. I was like, what? I don't remember what I'm supposed to do until I got to this part. And of course, that's the Holy Grail. Like, look at it. It's boring and lame. Of course it has to be it. So I took it to the fountain nearby and I drank out of it and it was a success. So from here, what they decided to do was quickly run back to Henry with it, wet the water and gave it to him, and pop, he has his legs back. Happy days. Oh, also Elsa decided to like rob the Holy Grail, and then because of that, like in the context of the movie, she decided to run away with it, and then that as a result ended up like the whole place to fall down and like she was falling off of a bridge and like Indy was gonna rescue her. But inside of the Lego game, it's way shorter. All the stuff inside this Lego game are really short. Like the game overall is just 5 hours long, so you know, it's the old style that only gave you the most important parts. She died, long story short. Oh, and also Indiana Jones' dad Henry is built different now. Like he is carrying a horse instead of the horse him. But they were all off into the sunset. A happy ending. There's definitely no other movie where there's aliens involved and he's extremely old in one of them and goes back in time somehow. Definitely not. Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, that's it for the video. I hope you guys enjoyed. I tried to make this a tiny bit more different. I'm trying to give more character in these videos if I haven't already. I really kind of have a very mixed opinion about this game. I know I said I loved every single bit of it, and I think I do. The first time that I played it, like as in the first time I was back, I kind of was sick of it. I will be honest. But after like rewatching it and writing the script completely and now re-recording it and probably even while editing, I'm having a lot of fun with it. This was definitely very unique and it does hold up to those old memories. No wonder I kept on replaying it. It's pretty easy, it's pretty fun, and it's Indiana Jones. Of course I love it. I've actually never played the second one, so I'll definitely make a video about that at some point. Yeah, it's such a weird situation with that game. I know it's supposed to be good, and I think it'll be pretty cool if they were to remake this. I think Lego should go out there and just like remake every single Lego game, but just like combine it into one. Because they did the Skywalker saga, make the Indiana Jones saga, and then make the Harry Potter saga, and then what else? I don't know. Just do that. It would be pretty cool. As always with these videos, if you have watched this far, I recommend for you to play it yourself. It's definitely special. It's unique. It's different and it's fun. It's aged like fine wine, as I like to say it. But thank you so much for watching. If you have really watched this far to the video, a subscribe and a like would be very much appreciated. We're on the road to hitting 1,000 subscribers. And also a little secret, if you've noticed that during this video, for some odd reason, I sound like I'm dying. For some odd reason, in the last hour that I've been recording this video, my nose has been extremely stuffy, but I stuck through. So yeah, if you really do watch the videos to the very end, you're finding out some secrets. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you guys in the next one.